Hey, Rhythm Guitar Rockers, this is Mark Turco from rhythmguitarlessons.net. And recently I had a live stream with Tom Hess and Deanna de Carabarus, and we were discussing many different things. But the one thing that I want to show you today is how to amplify emotion in your rhythm guitar playing.
But one other thing that I wanted to talk about today at some point, and maybe this is a good spot, is rubato. So you can take rubato to the extreme where you create the illusion of more, well, it's not even an illusion, it's actual, more rhythmic density by speeding up and slowing down. So for example, I'll play a tune that some of you know, and I'll exaggerate it. There's rubato in this tune, but not to the extreme that I'm going to play it. Let's say we take this. Bonus points for the first person who writes in the chat what I just played. 1982, I think, was the year that came out. Anyway, the point is, the tempo isn't changing, but I'm stretching the time. I'm pushing forward, playing faster, more rhythmic density, and then pulling back. So we're playing with density through the use of rubato, where, yeah, okay, there we got Diary of a Madman. That is correct. That is correct. 82, Ozzy. That's right. Okay, Rick's got it as well. Cool. So you can take this, and it creates a lot of additional tension. If we played it straight eighth notes. Oops, try that again. It's cool because the chords themselves are very cool. It is cool. But in my opinion, at least, I think this is cooler. You get the idea. It's because, well, two things are really added here. There's more dynamics here, getting louder and softer. But it's the rhythm. It's the speeding up and pulling back. This is known as rubato. And that adds way more interest and tension. It makes the emotions that already exist in those chords, and it exaggerates them. It's like plugging the chords into an amplifier and turning the amp up, in an emotional amplifier. That's a good way that I think about rubato and dynamics. They amplify the emotions that are already there in the harmony. So it's a very, very cool effect. And Randy Rhoads used it very well in that tune. He didn't apply vibrato to the extreme that I just played it, but it's still cool. Maybe he would have thought that would be too much or obnoxious or, whatever. So maybe he dialed it down a bit, and that's cool too. But it's something that's fairly easy to do, and it relates to rhythmic density, even though all I really played was eighth notes, but it's more free time. It's more rubato. So it creates density through stretching time.
Yeah. So you just mentioned free time, which is something that's actually different, even though you were playing with more freely with time using rubato. Can you explain the difference between rubato and free time?
Yeah, well, rubato is essentially where you're still going to think about it as landing on your feet. Okay, so you're jumping off, you may be speeding up and slowing down, but you're kind of coming back to what the original tempo was, or the original pace is. With free time, you wouldn't necessarily do that. You might speed up, slow down. There's no real tempo in mind. You're just freely playing whatever. It would be difficult to lock down and determine what is the tempo here. Well, we don't know because it's kind of all over the place. With what I was just playing, the Diary Diary of a Madman tune, we can kind of pin it down. You can't pin it down through the divisions because they're speeding up and slowing down, but you can link it to the harmonic rhythm. When the chords change, that's pretty regular, and it tends to be in rubato. So free time is just all bets are off. All you do whatever you want. It's more free than rubato. So you have more freedom with free time than you would with rubato, but the advantage of rubato over free time, the pro, if you're making a pros and cons list, is that with rubato, there's more for the listener to latch on to. Okay, there is a longer pattern of time that is there's longer expectation in the listener's mind. Now, in between each measure, they may not know what you're going to do. Are you going to, how fast are you going to speed up? How slow are you going to pull back? They may not know that, which is what holds the interest. That's what makes it sound so interesting, is they know there's a pattern there, but they're unsure how you're going to manipulate it. In free time, there's really no pattern to latch onto. So you run the risk of losing the listener's interest in a sense because they have nothing rhythmically to latch to. Their brain is seeking a pattern and cannot find it. That's the issue. Not that it's bad, just stating a fact of the differences.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks for that clarification, because I know people get those two things confused.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
I think
Cool.
the rubato thing is definitely something solo performers can exploit, and exploit more than they probably do. If you're playing by yourself, you lack the resources of a band to create some of these contrasts, but you can do as much rubato as you want because you're not going to throw off other people you're playing with.
Yeah, in an ensemble type setting, going back to, classical era or romantic era, where you would find it much more in the romantic period, you're relying on the conductor. So the conductor is conducting the entire orchestra to use rubato based upon how he's conducting the beat. But it's everyone has to be paying attention. Everyone has to really be listening and watching that conductor. In a band, you generally don't have a conductor, at the front of the stage conducting the band, but someone, maybe it's the guitar player, maybe it's the drummer, is leading that. So often, like you hear it at the end of rock tunes or whatever, if you look at live performances, where everything kind of slows down, especially like the last song of the night, and there's this big bombastic ending, right? And the drummer's doing all the accents and the fills and all that stuff, and everyone is, or ought to be, looking at the drummer, so when that last hit's coming, because you're not going to guess that correctly. If you're looking at someone in the crowd, you're gonna screw that up. So you need to be watching the drummer, because he's the timekeeper, and he's gonna tell you when the hits, and you have to match your hit to whatever he's doing. So in that, the drummer fills the role that a conductor would when time is being sped up or slowed down or stretched or whatever.
Yes.
But theoretically, anyone could do that. So in the case of Yngwie Malmsteen and his band, he is the conductor. So when he is not looking at the drummer, okay, yeah. He tells the drummer, "You look at me." But the role is the same, and he shows visually when he holds the guitar for the last hit or whatever. They're all cueing on him. So it can be done with an ensemble and a band, as long as everyone is aware of what's happening and they're paying attention and they're watching.
If you like that video, you're going to love this brand new e-guide that's totally free. The link is in this video's description, or you can go to rhythmguitarlessons.net/P, lowercase r, lowercase o.